Ivan Abajev, the weightlifting coach from Bulgaria, believed in specificity. Above all other pillars of strength and performance, he believed in specificity. It is that led him to kind of create the Bulgarian method or the Bulgarian program. He believed that if you want to get good at something, you should do that and do it a lot and minimize any other variation. This was basically in the direct contrast of what the Russians at the time were doing, who believed in like 100 plus exercises, variations, breaking movements down into sections to get better at a given movement, or clean and jerk and snatch. They kind of broke everything down and trained sections of each movement. Abajev was like, screw that. If you want to kick a ball really well, kick a ball a lot, all the time, to keep kicking it. So his exercise selection was very, very small, man. He basically had like 3, 4, 5 at most, from what I understand, 5 exercises. And most of the time, he used front squats, because front squats is very specific to the sport of weightlifting, right? You're catching in the front rack, you're standing up, right? That's what you do. And so that's what he wanted his athletes to do all the time. So this system that I kind of got inspired by, Ivan Abajev, and then I read Matt Perriman's book, and then later on I got exposed to John Bro's, Pavel Tsatsouline with the Grease in the Groove, a lot of specificity, a lot of volume. So I kind of got inspired by that system, yet I don't do exactly what Ivan Abajev was thinking, which was the front squat. So today I'm doing the front squat, as you can see what I'm doing here. The trick is that I'm not a weight lifter. Like, I don't need to catch the bar in the front rack position. I don't need to do the clean and jerk. But I think there's a lot of value in doing the front squat, even for somebody that wants to excel in the back squat. Number one, it keeps the load down. So it's kind of like a mini deload. So that's kind of handy. So the absolute weight on the bar is less. However, the exertion on the bar is still very, very high. Like today, I went up to 140 kilos for one, and I worked really, really hard. Not in the sense that my legs were really weak, that I couldn't push the weight up. It's because I was struggling to keep upright, and I was struggling to keep my upper back from rounding. Once the upper back rounds in this lift, you're pretty much cooked. You just drop the bar to the floor. So I know a lot of people say the front squat is all about the quads, blah, blah, blah. For me, the front squat is all about the upper back tension, upper back strength. Yes, I have mild, pump in the quads, but this is nothing compared to what I usually get when I do the pig squat or whatever, with the back squat. So I don't do this movement because of the quads. I do it because of the core. And it might not seem, like this makes sense to you, but for me, like right now, my upper back is like fried, and even my neck, like everything, I was trying to force my chin up, all that sort of stuff. And also the wrist, I'm feeling the wrist as well, because when the bar, when you start rounding forward, by the way, this is 140. You can see I've got a lot of horsepower, but it all wants to go forward. Once the bar starts to roll forward, your wrists start to cop it. So in the ideal world, I will be completely upright and it would just be a quad exercise, right? But I don't have the ability to do that. Either I would need to kind of widen my stance a whole lot, push my knees out a whole lot, and then sit in the hole that way. Or I need more dorsiflexion, I need more hip mobility. So the hip, the wrists really cop it. But I do like this, and I kind of feel sorry that I haven't done it for such a long time. There was a period in this training program where I did a lot of front squats. I think I did a period where I started every single day with front squats. And then when I would kind of max out 140, 150, 160, then I would transition to the back squat without kind of going back down. I would just continue on with the back squat, and that would be the session. That's kind of what I wanted to do today, but because it's 5 o'clock in the morning, I don't have the time to kind of do that. So I just did front squats, and that's all I'm going to do today. And then I'm doing as we speak, I'm doing the hamstring curls as well. But the front squat is something that Ivan Abajev used predominantly for squatting because of specificity. And this is basically the thing that attracts me most to his philosophy. It's not so much the squatting and whatever. It's the fact that I do also believe, most of all, in specificity. I feel like it makes sense to my sporting brain. It makes sense to my basketball brain. I understand what the Russians did in the past about, not grinding down the motor neuron patterns to the ground and just kind of like, working around the problem and then coming back really much stronger. But to me, the core philosophy is always going to be specificity. Every time I think about training, every time I think about everything I know in medicine and physiology, it makes sense for specificity. These overuse patterns that people talk about, I understand where they're coming from. But if you're getting overuse injuries, drop the load, man. Drop the load and do the same movement with less load. People just assume that, squatting every day is really bad for you, you're going to die. That's if you're assuming that we're going for 1 rep max every single day. You can't argue that squatting the bar on its own is negative. I feel like I always say the same stuff, but this is why I believe in specificity, because you have to keep an open mind. You can still squat and not break down your muscle. You can still walk and run without killing yourself. So this idea that, specificity, high specificity is really bad because of overuse injuries makes no sense to me. Absolutely makes no sense to me, because we are not assuming the load has to be max all the time. And if you also select the right accessory movements, like some sort of hamstring work or some sort of mobility work, I think squatting is an excellent movement. And I don't think you're going to have overuse injuries like some people claim. But anyway, guys, there it is. I've done some front squats. I think I'm going to include some of these moving forward. I don't know exactly in what sort of form and fashion. Maybe it's going to be every day. Maybe it's going to be every other day. I'm not sure. I'm going to use today kind of to think about this in the background. But that's all I got for you guys today. I need to get ready and go to work. So peace out. And I'll catch you next one. Ciao.